Hello, friends, and thank you as always for visiting the Legend Sports Universe YouTube channel, Legend Sports Universe, where legends play forever. It is a pivotal Game 5 as we are now in a best of 3 series as the Minnesota Wild visit the Colorado Avalanche here in the Western Conference Final for year 1 of the Legend Sports Universe Hockey League. The Avalanche with a big come from behind win in Game 4. The Wild had that game clamped down, but the Avalanche scored twice in the third period. Valery Nichushkin with the winner with 40 seconds remaining to give the Avalanche the win and not this series as it heads back to Denver. So now we will see if the Avalanche can take advantage of reclaiming the home ice advantage as they look to get into the first Legends Cup. But the Wild will not go down quietly. Huge Game 5. We're ready for action in Denver. Storm brewing here at Ball Arena in Colorado. The Wild and the Avalanche, both teams 10-4 throughout the postseason. They have been deadlocked in terms of play. This has been a fun, even series. The Wild have frustrated the Avalanche at times. The Avalanche have shown all their talent at others. The opening shot, 16 seconds in. From the Wild, Varlamov holds on. Rantanen, Forsberg, and McKinnon for the Avalanche. Connor, Koivu, and Cinderella out for the Wild. Koivu wins the draw. Spurgeon tries a slap shot. It's blocked by Rantanen. Rantanen shovels it down. Avalanche try to get the forecheck going. There's Nathan McKinnon. McKinnon rushes, cuts in front of the net. Shot saved by Backstrom. Oh, McKinnon buzzing early. Another shot. That one saved by Backstrom, and he holds on. Nathan McKinnon, like he was shot out of a cannon, racing down for that dump in by Rantanen. Cuts in front of the net quickly, but Backstrom up to the task. Koivu wins the draw. Koivu has been excellent on the dot for the Wild in this series. Turnover. Rantanen across the blue line. Rantanen feed middle. McKinnon shot. Another save by Backstrom. 3 shots in the opening minute and change for Nathan McKinnon. William Mitchell being chased by Forsberg around behind the net. He sends it all the way down and around. Avalanche touch up. Johnson to Rantanen. A bit of loose play there in the back. Ozolin's recovered. McKinnon tries to send him, but it's picked off. Joel Eriksson Ek gets in, pass in the middle. Ozolin picks that one off. Here's Nichushkin, who had the game winner in Game 4. Koivu across the blue line. Koivu feeds in front. Dangerous zone. Ozolin gets his way in there. I think that looked like there was a shot registered there for Varlamov with the save. Rantanen cuts to the middle, has it poked away. Battle along the near side boards here. McKinnon digs it. Feed in the middle. Nichushkin leaves it for Rantanen. Johnson at the point. Slap shot wide of the mark. Nichushkin battles along the boards. Gets it out to the point. Miller feeds Rantanen. Shot. Saved by Backstrom. Johnson pressured in the corner. Wild able to break out. Here's Brian Rolston through the neutral zone. Beats his man. Rolston feed. Slap shot. Misses the mark. Parisi with the one-timer. Couldn't find the net. Harris pressured along the boards. Rolston. Shot there. Tipped in. Score! Zach Parisi with the deflection. His 3rd goal of the playoffs, and the Wild in a buzzing first 4 minutes. Strike first. 1-0 Minnesota. Shot from the point. Parisi with the tip-in. A beauty from Zach Parisi. 1-0 Minnesota. Figured the first goal of this game would be a big one. And it goes to the Wild. A beautiful tip-in from Zach Parisi. 3rd goal of the playoffs. Comes at 4:18. Johnson and Rolston with the assist. So that takes a little bit out of the crowd here in Colorado. Briefly. Zadorov. Hedrick hits the post. Milan Hayjuk hits the post. Here come the Wild. Parisi through the neutral zone. Carey shovels it down and around. Group Kaminsky. Kaminsky loses it. Group loses it. Parisi shot. Blocker save from Varlamov. Down into the corner. Parisi behind the net. Looking to feed it in front. He does. Andrew Burnett. Burnett gets tied up. Can't get the shot off. Zadarov's breakout pass misses the mark. Goes all the way down the ice. There will not be icing. It's waved off. Throws into Burnett to Schultz. Coyle through the neutral zone. He's in. Shot there is deflected wide of the net by. I'm not sure if that didn't catch that was Miller and then retrieved it behind him. Burnett feed in front. Oh, beautiful job defensively by Kaminsky to get a stick on that, and Varlamov falls on top of it. 13-19 remaining in the first of Game 5. Wild with a 1-0 lead. Alex Tanguay through the neutral zone. Pass kicked off by Niederreiter. Brings up the near side. Cross-ice pass. Cal Clutterbuck. Shot. Glove save from Varlamov. Good pace here to this opening frame. Here in Game 5. Colorado wins the draw. Miller. Tanguay. Tanguay across the blue line. Inside Landeskog. Shot blocked. Nichushkin though gets the deflection. His shot is stopped. Collides with Backstrom. No call there. He was kind of ridden into him a bit. And we're going to have our first penalty of the game. And it's going to be against the Avalanche. Goalie is out. Extra attacker for the Wild. Niederreiter's shot is saved. Puck is touched up, and Nichushkin is going to the box. Yeah, that's a pretty blatant one. Rides him into the post, too. So Nichushkin takes the first 2 minutes of the game, 8:07 of the first period. The Wild will have their power play, 24.2 on the power play. Avalanche has killed at an 87.5 rate. Kill has been very solid. Colorado wins the draw. Second in around behind the net. Spurgeon in the corner. He gets pressured. Good work there by Kadri. Kadri behind. Feeds Ozolins out in front. Ozolins tries to tee it up. He gets his stick lifted. Can't pull the trigger. Here's Franlin. Franlin to Zuccarello. Zuccarello's shot. Saved by Varlamov to go wide. Kadri pressured along the boards. He's able to get it out of the zone. Wild have to regroup. Rolston across the blue line. Brian Rolston feed into the middle. Yep, Kim Johnson. Shot and save. Lekanen banks it off the boards. Gets it out at least past the blue line. Wild will have to regroup here. A minute left on the Minnesota power play. Parisi gets hit hard. Back pass there. Floats into space, but no harm, no foul. Coyle to Zuccarello. Zuccarello gets knocked off the puck by Johnson. Flips it all the way down the ice. Good clearance there from Johnson. Wild will go back to retrieve. Broden behind the net. It's Parisi up the high side. Across the blue line. Parisi has the game's only goal. He gets stood up by Uwe Krupp, who had that huge breakaway goal. Rare one for the big defenseman. To tie up Game 4. Hayjuk skates in. Hayjuk can't get it through the traffic. Has it poked away. 5 seconds left on the Minnesota power play. Rolston to Connor. Connor feeding in the middle. Granlund has it poked away. Good defending there. Into the corner they go. Johnson comes out of there with it. Under the pressure. Wild keeping up the pressure there, but they break out. Here's Sakic. Sakic has it poked away. Granlund gets the loose puck, turns it around. Granlund across the blue line. Shot wide of the mark. Wraps around the board. Here's Landeskog. Gabriel Landeskog. Goes from one side to the other. Connor now has it for the Wild. Puck is poked away there. Here come the Avalanche. Tanguay races across the blue line. Shot. Pad save from Backstrom. Tanguay out the group at the point. Pass back down low is picked off. Garrett Spurgeon racing up the ice. Tries to put a move on. Has it poked away. Tanguay across the blue line. Tanguay races in. Feeds Landeskog. Shot goes wide. Feed down low. Rantanen. Shot. Pad save from Backstrom. Brodziak has it behind the net. He's taken down, and the Avalanche are going to the box again. Mikko Rantanen. Similar spot down behind the Minnesota net. And Rantanen's going to the box. Battle there along the boards. No argument there. 12:37 of the first. The Avalanche surrender a second power play here in period number 1. Killed off the first one. Brunette, Koivu, and Eriksson Ek try to change that for the Wild here on the second go-round. Forsberg wins the draw, though. Krug tries to flip it out, gets it past the blue line, but it's pulled down by Parise. Pocket picked there by Forsberg. Forsberg tries to get a rush going. He gets separated from the puck, though. Now he pressures Rolston down in the corner. Wild trying to keep it. This Avalanche trying to keep it down in the Wild end. Parise to Eriksson Ek. Cross ice pass can't be handled. Brunette recovers it briefly, but the Avalanche now have control. Lehkonen has it poked away. 1:20 left on the Minnesota power play. Miller turns it around, sends it all the way down. The Wild will go back to retreat. Dangerous pass in front of the net, almost turned over there by the Wild. Net to Eriksson Ek. Tries to pull the trigger. Zadorov gets a stick in there to disrupt it, but now flipped and it goes out of play. No delay of game call. Honor Granlund and Zuccarello out there for Minnesota. Justin loses it to Granlund. Now wins it back. Racing through the neutral zone. It's Justin with pace across the blue line. Shot saved by Backstrom. Steered out into the corner. Honor gets it to Granlund. 35 seconds left on the Minnesota power play. Granlund has it poked away from him. Goes back out across the blue line. Wild keep control. They have to reset. Honor to Granlund to Zuccarello. Zuccarello skates in. Back to Granlund. Shot saved by Varlamov, who holds on. 19 seconds left on the Minnesota power play. Parise, 3 goals, 3 assists in the postseason. His third goal, the only goal here in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. Eriksson Ek has it poked away. Johnson behind the net. McKinnon. Johnson flips it down the ice. Parise retrieves, and the power play is done. So the Avalanche have killed off both penalties so far. Offside is the call there. We'll have a face-off in the neutral zone. Niederreiter, Brodziak, Clutterbuck for Minnesota. Kaminsky, Sakic, and Hayes for Colorado. Miller to Hayes. Across the blue line. Feed into the middle. Puck can't be handled. Nick Schultz gets it up to Niederreiter. Niederreiter gets tied up though. Puck gets knocked loose to Schultz for Grody. Niederreiter back into a little bit of space. Carries. Niederreiter still with it. Carrying deep, tries to cut to the net. Miller separates him from the puck. Pass there to Sakic. Sakic through the neutral zone. Cuts through traffic. Rips one. Stick save from Backstrom. Kaminsky retrieves it. Tries to play it out to the point. Niederreiter intercepts. Niederreiter across the blue line. Pass there is picked off. Miller gets control for Colorado. It's Sakic. Sakic whips it down and around. Roden gets there first. He's pressured behind the net. Gets it out to Coyle. Coyle to Niederreiter. Wild having a bit more of the flow of play here. A little bit more consistency than the Avalanche at the moment. Over to Hayes. Hayes shot. Save from Backstrom. As soon as I say that, of course, things change. Shot there is deflected, rolls in harmlessly on Nicholas Baxter. He brings the play to a halt. 43 remaining in the first. Colorado out shooting Minnesota 11-9, but the Wild with the 1-0 lead. Forsberg wins the faceoff. Zadorov's shot is blocked. Spurgeon gets the deflection. Here's Kyle Connor. Connor races up the near side. Driving to the net. Pass into the middle. Misses the original target. Zuccarello gets taken down. No call. Oh, that looked like a trip from here, but no call. Zuccarello gets wiped out. Rantanen down low. Battle there. McKinnon can't get the shot off. Feeds Rantanen in front. Save from the slot. Backstrom with the save. He holds on. Harris to Parisi. Harris in feet in the middle. One-timer is deflected. Hits off Zadorov, who gets it to Forsberg. Coming up on a minute remaining in period number 1. Michael Granlund gets laid to waste. Big hit there from Zadorov. Zadorov now has it across the blue line. Slap shot wide of the mark. Harris gets it behind the net. Parisi carries through the neutral zone as pocket pick. Zadorov loses it. Here's Parisi. Parisi skates in. Shot. Saved by Varlamov. 15 seconds remaining. Kadri up the near side. Takes the blue line. Kadri cuts it in the middle. Nichushkin's shot. Block doesn't get through. Kim Janssen with the stop there. 2 seconds. 1. Parisi tries to feed into the middle. Time expires on this first period. Nip and tuck. Backstrom. Couple of big saves. But the only goal of the period, Zach Parisi with a beautiful tip-in gives the Wild a 1-0 lead in Game 5. There you see the Avalanche with a 12-10 shots advantage, a 10-2 hits advantage. The Avalanche really trying to bring the physicality here. In this one, they've got an advantage on the face-off circle. They did take the 2 penalties. Wild unable to convert. They do have the 1-0 lead. We will check out the goal, and this is a beauty. Parisi, just a terrific job. Battle along the boards. McKinnon and Sakaris. Sakaris tries to pull the trigger on the shot. Gets through, it gets partially blocked actually. Rolston gets it, and Rolston plays it out to the point. Kim Janssen with the shot. Parisi sticks out the stick and knocks it down low. Look at that. That is not much space there. Through the wickets. Oh boy. Talk about having eyes. Great play from the scene. And it's 1-0 Wild. A pivotal Game 5. Both of these series, both of these conference finals here in year 1 of the LSUHL, deadlocked at 2. Lightning and Leafs are deadlocked at 2 as well, as that series heads back to Tampa. But for now, we will keep our focus here in Colorado. We head down to the ice. Ball Arena, period number 2. Rantanen, Forsberg, and McKinnon, Connor, Koivu, and Zuccarello, your lines to open up the second stanza of this Game 5. Avalanche win the draw. Ozolins for Rantanen. Rantanen skates in. Shot, he gets tied up, can't pull the trigger. Zuccarello through the neutral zone, takes the blue line. Cross ice to Connor. Connor rips off a shot. Saved there from Varlamov. Johnson to Rantanen. Rantanen to McKinnon. McKinnon had those 3 shots in the first minute of the first period. He was flying from the opening faceoff. They will have an icing call here. Faceoff down in the Minnesota end. Peter Forsberg has been relatively quiet in this game to this point. expect that to change. Kamensky pokes it behind the net, tries to feed in front. Willie Mitchell intercepts. Here's Connor. Connor racing in. Kyle Connor, a little bit of space. Beautiful move from Connor to the backhand, but a save from Varlamov, who holds on. Kyle Connor sweeps in a beautiful move to beat his defender. Gets the backhand off, but Varlamov holds on. And Connor, a trade pickup from Winnipeg. He has been sensational for the Wild. Koivu. Koivu shot. Stick save, rebound, score! Mikko Koivu with the shot. Varlamov with the save, but Koivu bags the rebound. His 5th goal in the playoffs. And it's 2-0 Wild. Shot there, but Varlamov stick save. Problem with the stick save is you're never going to corral it. It's always going to leave your space a bit. You know, pad save, if it can hit off the pad and die there. Stick save, that puck's going to go out. And it goes out to Koivu, who continues his rush and beats Varlamov 2-0 Minnesota. So we wondered how that late Game 4 collapse, collapse is a harsh word, but in Game 4, how the Wild would kind of take that punch in the mouth. They have weathered it well. Connor with the assist. 2-0 Minnesota. 18:07 left in the second period. Brunette feeding in the middle. Hayes-Duke intercept. And the Wild led 2-0 in Game 4 as well. Sakic, good move there. Cuts through the defense. Sakic rips a shot. Save from Backstrom. Knocked into the corner. Here's Granlund. Granlund across the blue line. Parisi. Kamensky has it. Up the near side. Here's Hayes. This, of course, had the hat trick in Game 2. Net. Across. Granlund. Granlund skates in. Has his pocket picked. Kamensky being pressured. Now finds a little bit of space. As the Avalanche try to break out. Sakic, one-touch pass is intercepted from Brunette. Hayes-Duke wins it back. Flip down into the corner. Broden retrieves it. He gets knocked by Sakic, but the puck rolls away to Backstrom, who covers it up. One thing that generally does not happen, the Wild do not tend to take a lot of penalties. Rantanen, backhand, saved by Backstrom. Wild trying to get it clear. And they do. Rantanen with an opportunity there on the doorstep, but Nicholas Backstrom up to it. Boyle pressured down in the corner. He gets taken down, hit hard down there in the corner. Here's McKinnon. McKinnon across the blue line to Rantanen. Rantanen leaves it for Forsberg. Back to Rantanen. Shot. Saved by Backstrom. Rantanen gets it. Plays it out to the point. Ozolin's whips it across to Forsberg. Johnson. Shot. Wide of the mark. Off the boards. Rolston plays it. Loose puck in front. Forsberg. Shot. Saved by Backstrom. Wild trying to break out, and they do. Rolston at least gets to the neutral zone. Ozolin gets control of it, but now the Wild have it back. Rolston tees up. Slap shot. Misses the mark by a mile. In and across to Johnson. 14 minutes left in the second. Nazem Kadri across the blue line. Kadri feeds into the middle. It's intercepted. Niederreiter gets hammered across the blue line. Ozolin's banks it down and around. Spurgeon retrieves to Zuccarello. Here's Niederreiter. Niederreiter through the neutral zone. Working against Miller. Niederreiter tries past him. Miller takes behind net. Niederreiter throws it in front of the net, but Ozolin gets the stick on it. Here's Jones. David Jones. Skates in. Deflection. Hits off of Mitchell. Never quite got to Backstrom. And the Wild doing an outstanding job of closing up lanes. They just don't allow a lot of space to work, generally speaking. Particularly close into their own end. They seal things up. They lift sticks. They tie guys up. Here's Lehkonen. To Rantanen across the blue line. Rantanen Pulls it back. Pulls off the shot. Nice save there from Backstrom. Turns it aside. Spurgeon gets it up to Zuccarello to Niederreiter. To Zuccarello. Zuccarello across the blue line. Has it poked away. Miller, cross ice. But pass there can't be handled. Another one that can't be handled. Zuccarello gets it, but Lehkonen wins it back. He quickly turns it over, though, to Clutterbuck. Clutterbuck to Niederreiter. Gets thumped down into the corner. Miller retrieves it. Clutterbuck drives in on Varlamov. Shot. Varlamov denies it. Backhand opportunity there from Rantanen, but Backstrom. Here's Varlamov, both goalies have been stellar. There you see their playoff numbers. Both goalies have been terrific. Tanguay, Landeskog, and Nichushkin out there for Colorado at the moment. Wild keep it in the zone. Connor feed in front, one-timer, but Varlamov snares it. Beautiful feed in from Connor to Zuccarello. Reese Granlund for net, now on for the Wild. Landeskog wins the draw. Tanguay turns it over in front. Landeskog is able to win it back. Inside 10 minutes left in the second period. A little bit past the midway point of this game. Broden to Brunette to Granlund. Group wins it. To Nichushkin. Group carries deep, feed in front. Nichushkin has it. Out to Tanguay at the point. Deflected, goes into the corner. Feed. Krupp corrals that puck nicely. Gets the shot off. It's saved and knocked wide. Granlund, breakout pass there to Parise. He has to keep himself online, and he does. Feed in the middle. One-timer hits the traffic. Granlund retrieves it out of the corner. Krupp picks his pocket. Krupp tries to kick it up the boards, but Brunette gets it. Tanguay takes it from him. And now here come the Avalanche. Nichushkin turns it over to Sakaris. Landeskog gets it, but crosses the blue line with his man still in the zone, and we'll have an offsides call. Nicholas Backstrom, who has been such a story here in the playoffs. He has been outstanding for Minnesota. Blocker save there. Mensky, Sakic, and Haydu, Connor, Koivu, and Zuccarello. Lyle across the blue line. In the middle, one-timer saved by Backstrom. Haydu gets it, plays out to the point. Lyles to Miller, throws it towards the net, hits off a bunch of bodies. Goes into the corner where Kim Janssen digs it out. Here comes Zuccarello, feeds Connor. Connor racing through the neutral zone. Connor feeds his man. Connor drives in. Tied up. Lyles is able to get it off of him before he can get a shot off. Avalanche come the other way. Johnson behind the net gets it to Connor. Connor gets flat. Haydu. Feed in front, nobody there. Janssen gets it for the Wild. They get it out of the zone. Zuccarello across center ice takes the blue line. There's Miller. Miller breaks his stick. Miller has nothing he can do there. Unfortunate turn of events there. Goes to retrieve a new stick, and he'll just go off the ice now and change it up. Lyles retrieves behind the net, hits Nichushkin. Nichushkin to Lehkonen. Lehkonen's pass is intercepted, intended for Kadri. Oh, big hit along the near side board. And the Avalanche trying to get this a bit more physical. Lehkonen wins it. Feed into the front. Sakaris intercepts. That's the Wild not letting anything pass through in front. Pass there. Kicked off. Gets knocked into the corner. Johnson banks it off the boards, trying to get it clear. Here's Nichushkin. Nichushkin's cross ice pass. Brodziak intercepts. Closing off of the passing lanes by the Wild. Eriksson X shot. Tip deflected wide. Pass there misses the mark. That's going to go the length of the ice, and we will get an icing call here. 3:42 left in the second. The Wild playing their game at the moment. Avalanche needs something to break through. Spurgeon slapped from the point, deflected. Varlamov stays with that one. Pass there goes all the way down. We're going to get another icing call. Semyon Varlamov, .927 save percentage in the postseason. Mitchell, Spurgeon, back to Mitchell, to Parisi, back to Mitchell, back to Parisi. A little two-man game there. Parisi wings it out wide. Mitchell gets it back at the point. He loses control of the puck, though. Here's Lehkonen. Lehkonen to Nichushkin. Nichushkin across the blue line. Shot. Saved by Backstrom. Steered aside. Granlund head. Parisi races high side. Lehkonen. Kadri. Kadri to Lyle. Into Kadri at the blue line. All sorts of traffic there. Minnesota once again gumming up the works. Johnson on the near side. As it knocked away from him by Spurgeon, who stands him up along the board. Here's Mitchell. Mitchell to the middle. Granlund has it poked away. Rantanen into Jesus. Zadorov. Zadorov to Rantanen. Rantanen shot. Save from Backstrom. Jesus digs it out of the corner. Pressure behind the net. He presses Kim Janssen. Janssen loses it to Jesus. Rantanen shot. Misses the mark. Goes wide. I believe it was deflected. Pass out to the point. Can't be handled. Here's Zuccarello. Final 25 seconds of period number 2. Brian Rolston gets hammered by Ozolin's. Ozolin's pass, however, is picked off by Charlie Coyle. Coyle across the blue line. Ozolin separates him from the puck. Zuccarello feeds close to the goal line late. Gets the shot off from the slot. Varlamov with the save, and period number 2 comes to a close. But the Wild extend the lead. Mikko Koivu puts in his own rebound, and the Wild have a 2-0 lead after 2. Colorado with the 22-17 shots advantage, a 16-3 hits advantage. It's incredible that as much as Minnesota does the grabbing, the tying up, the stick lifting, the just making things kind of mucky during the course of the game, they really never are high on the hits, on the hits tally. In the board, they usually end up around 10 to 15, somewhere in that area. The low side of average. But because of that, they also just don't take many penalties too, so they don't do much to beat themselves. Right now, they are carrying this game out into form. They would probably tell you they'd like Colorado to have a few fewer shots, but 1-2 by no means an outlandish number. Remember, Colorado averaged 40 shots in the first 2 games of this series. Minnesota has kind of successfully lessened that a bit. We'll take a look at our lone goal of the second period. It is Mikko Koivu, and this is just a terrific effort from Koivu here. It starts off here with Connor. Connor crosses the blue line. He's already across. So Koivu just it's kind of just like a layoff pass there. So Koivu races in, gets past Sakic. Look at this. Sakic has an angle, and Sakic just kind of reaches in instead of playing the body there. Koivu takes the first shot. Who's that defending? Oh, that's Uwe Krupp. Not to get anybody dizzy there. Had to go see who the name was. So Koivu pulls the trigger here. Varlamov with the stick save. But that creates a little bit of a high rebound. And Koivu is is able to cash it in, wraps it around Varlamov for the goal. Kyle Connor was on rushing there as well. So, at the risk of beating the dead horse with this phrase, but a pivotal Game 5 here in Colorado. It's the Wild who have the 2-0 lead as we head into the final 20. Avalanche needs something early. One thing, they need to bring the crowd back into this game. Rantanen and Forsberg and McKinnon, Connor, Koivu, and Zuccarello. Avalanche win the draw. Pass quickly intercepted by Connor. Connor across the blue line. Shot. Glove save. Varlamov holds on. Again, we'll take a look at Nicholas Backstrom. He has been very, very solid. I'll tell you, this really is pretty looking. I enjoy this game immensely, and unlike Madden, like it took a little bit of work to get this to play properly, but nowhere near what it took to get Madden playing properly. And you don't have to cheat this, for lack of a better term, cheat the system to get NHL to play properly. Just a few little ratings adjustments, different rating bands, for lack of a better term, to get things to play right. McKinnon across the blue line. McKinnon races in, feeds, shots knocked wide. McKinnon feeds Sakic. Sakic's shot rather is blocked. Here comes Willie Mitchell the other way. Connor across the blue line. Shot there, partially blocked. Varlamov gets it, but then leaves it. Doesn't hold on to it for the faceoff. Andrew Brunette across the blue line. 2 minutes into the third period. Break out to Sakic. Sakic across the blue line. Sakic at the circle. He gets left alone. Sakic races to the net himself. Takes the shot. Backstrom denies him. Mitchell to Eriksson Ek. Eriksson Ek takes a shot, but feeds Brunette anyway. Despite the hit, Spurgeon gets locked up along the boards by Sakic, but Spurgeon comes out of there with it. To Sakic. Sakic gets his pocket pick. Feed to the middle. Brunette. Brunette gets tied up. Tries to get a shot. Brunette wins it anyway, though. Gets a shot. Varlamov with the save. Here comes Sakic across the blue line. Sakic, slap shot. Saved by Backstrom. Mitchell in the corner. Feeds Eriksson Ek. Races through the neutral zone. Takes the blue line. Krug takes it off of his stick. Zadorov to Sakic. Sakic across the blue line. Down and around. All the way around. Parisi gets checked by Sakic. Sakic feet in front. Mitchell intercepts. Here comes Brunette for the Wild. Ridden into the board. Zadorov takes it off of him. Only 2 penalties in this game. They were both called in the first period, both against Colorado. Landeskog across the blue line. Kamensky looking for a little bit of space. Gets it over to Krug. Krug feed in front. Can't be handled. Here comes Brian Rolston. Rolston races up the high side. Feed in front. Coyle shot. Bad save from Varlamov. Good opportunity there for Coyle. Kadri. Kadri's shot. Glove save. Backstrom will hold on. We'll have a face-off in the Minnesota end. 13:56 remaining here in Game 5. Niederreiter, Brodziak, and Clutterbuck. Lehkonen, Kadri, and Jones for Colorado. Brodziak wins the draw. Across the blue line. Pass to Niederreiter. Niederreiter knocks down his man, but loses control of the puck. Lehkonen, once again, gets tied up. How many times have we seen that? As soon as they cross the blue line, they get tied up by multiple Wild defenders. Good team defending from Minnesota. Tanguay across the blue line. Alex Tanguay. carries in, feed in the middle. Forsberg rushes in, shot deflected, and Backstrom holds on. Forsberg's shot partially blocked. Backstrom is able to calm it down. Forsberg wins the draw. Wiles to Miller. Miller tees it up. It's blocked by Zuccarello. McKinnon races in. Nathan McKinnon tees it up. Save from Backstrom. Forsberg kicks it out of the corner. Pressure into the corner. Harris and Connor were both working it. Hindle on the board. Connor comes out of the scrum with it. Miller being pressured, driven back into his own end. Cross-ice pass to McKinnon. McKinnon to Lyles. Lyles to Forsberg. Here's McKinnon rushing down the middle. Nathan McKinnon, but Janssen separates him from the puck. McKinnon pressures, tries to win it back. Colorado does along the boards. Exits the zone, though. Lyles will go back, try to create a little bit of space. Here's McKinnon again. McKinnon shot, stick save from Backstrom. McKinnon gets it, though. Gets his own rebound. McKinnon races to the front. Shot. Backstrom with the save. Lost control of it for a moment, but it ends up under him. And with Rantanen on the doorstep, Backstrom finds it before it crosses the goal line. Oh, boy. That puck got behind him, but Backstrom recovers to keep it out of the net and keep this a 2-0 Wild lead. Ranlund wins the draw, but the puck gets loose quickly. Landeskog tied up behind the net. Roden comes out of there with it for Minnesota. Landeskog tries to send it in, and it ends up exiting the ice, and we will have a neutral zone faceoff. Tanguay, Landeskog, and Shuskin line was the best line for the Avalanche in Game 4, and you can argue it's been their best line here in this game as well. Pass there, picked off by Burnett. Checked off the puck, here's Nichushkin. Nichushkin banks it off the boards, bit of a self-pass, goes into pressure, Broden gets there first, Nichushkin ties him up in the corner. Parisi tied up, Niederreiter goes to help him. Johnson. Cross, Landeskog gets control, Landeskog chips it in, Avalanche will go for a change here, 8:40 remaining in the third. Parisi evades a check, sends it down and around. Soto will try to change things up here. Ozenwins break out to Kamensky. Kamensky to Landeskog. Landeskog across the blue line. He sends it down and around. Hayjuk tries to cut in front of the net. Loses control. Niederreiter carries, but Avalanche win it back. Brodziak is taken down there. No call on that one. They call that check clean. Ranlund banks it down behind the Avalanche net. Coyle gets there first. Charlie Coyle feeds to Clutterbuck. Clutterbuck loses control, though Jones wins it off of him. Here's Kamensky. We're inside 7 minutes remaining. Kamensky tries to send it around, and it hits off the stanchion. And it's going to be ruled out of play. We will have a neutral zone faceoff. Kamensky, Sakic, and Hayjuk out there for Colorado right now. Olsen, Eriksson, Ek, and Coyle for the Wild. True bad turnover. Rolston. Shot saved by Varlamov. Zadorov to Hayjuk. Hayjuk to Sakic. Sakic chips it in. Here's Zadorov. Zadorov stops Coyle. Coyle feeds to Eriksson Ek. Troop to McKinnon. McKinnon banks it down, slams it into the corner. It bounces in front of the net. Awkward bounce. McKinnon wins it back. McKinnon races in on Backstrom. Save. Backstrom denies him. Kicked into the corner. Coyle gets it. Kicks it down behind the net. Pressure behind the net, but the Wild come out of there with it. Here's Willie Mitchell. Mitchell to Rolston as we come up on 5 minutes remaining. Coyle's shot is blocked. Nathan McKinnon sends it around. Mitchell pressure. He gets hammered. But Minnesota keeps control. Zuccarello to Connor. Connor works his defender. Tries to leave the pass there. It gets all the way through. Misses the mark. Group behind the net as we come up on 4 minutes left. Here in Game 5. McKinnon through the neutral zone. Dumps it in. Koivu to Connor. Connor across the blue line. Has it poked away but recovers. Johnson pressure back to Connor. Saved by Varlamov. Kamensky sends it up to Kadri. Kadri across the blue line. Nazem Kadri gets hit along the boards. Loses control. Johnson's cross-ice pass to Clutterbuck. Inside 3 minutes left. Cal Clutterbuck to Mikko Koivu. Koivu loses it. Wild pokes it away. It leaves the zone, but the Wild get control. Time getting short on the Avalanche here. Brunette fights off the check from Kadri. Gets it to Clutterbuck. Clutterbuck across the blue line. Clutterbuck carries in. Lyles gets it off of him. Here's Miller. 2 minutes remaining. 2-0 Wild. Kadri across the blue line. Weak shot there. Goes in on Backstrom, who'll freeze it with Kamensky on the doorstep. 1:44 remaining. And a textbook performance here from the Wild. Forsberg and Granlund on the circle. Granlund wins it. Here's Nick Schultz. Schultz through the neutral zone. Carries in. Rantanen to McKinnon. McKinnon across the blue line. Dumped down and around. Forsberg wins it. Ozolins to Forsberg. Back to Ozolins. Ozolins shot. Save from Backstrom. Goes up and around. Varlamov is out of the net. Extra attacker goal. And they're not dead yet. Peter Forsberg on the feed out of the corner. His 8th goal of the playoffs with 52 seconds remaining. And the Avalanche get within 1 late. Pressure down in the corner. That's Rantanen. Beautiful feed, and Forsberg nets it. Peter Forsberg, we mentioned earlier, he's been quiet in this one. Beautiful goal here to Pete Backstrom in the final minute. Mikko Rantanen, a beautiful pass. 2-1 here in Game 5. Tanguay, Landeskog, and Nichushkin. Niederreiter, Brodziak, and Clutterbuck. 52.7 left on the clock. Varlamov goes back into the goal for the draw. He will come out quickly if the Avalanche can get control, but the Wild win the puck. Avalanche get it back quickly, though. Ozolins across to Nichushkin. Nichushkin to Tanguay. There goes Varlamov. Landeskog skates in. Shot partially blocked by Schultz. Broden has it. Broden to Clutterbuck. Clutterbuck being pressured. Clutterbuck still being pressured. Still keeps control. Clutterbuck carries. Cal Clutterbuck gets out of danger. Inside 30 seconds left. Nichushkin to Sakic. Sakic's pass is blocked. Colorado has to reset. Tanguay across the blue line with the extra attacker. Tanguay's shot is blocked. Tanguay gets his own rebound. Ozolins tees up on the point. Redirect goes wide. Avalanche keep it in the zone. 11 seconds left. Slapper in front of Nichushkin. Nichushkin's shot is deflected and saved by Backstrom. And the Wild get it clear. Empty net goal for Niederreiter, and the Wild will take Game 5. Oh, wow. 5th goal of the playoffs for Niederreiter. But the Avalanche had the opportunity there. But with 2.7 left, the Wild put the nail in the Game 5 coffin. Minnesota wins it 3-1. Oh boy, what a performance from Backstrom. You know, Backstrom kind of hasn't been the story over the past couple of games. Not that he's played badly, but he hasn't really been the tale. but he has certainly been the story of the Wild success here in the postseason. That one was dangerous. Great recovery there from Backstrom. But we'll go, when we get to the replay, we'll go through that sequence late because the Avalanche were banging on the door again. That would have been a crusher for the Wild to play like they did here and give up 2 goals in the final minute. Avalanche get one of them, can't get the second, and they come out of Colorado, bringing the series back to Minnesota with a 3-2 series lead, 1 win away from the Legends Cup. From a berth in the Legends Cup final, I should say. Nico Koivu, 3rd star honors. Forsberg was really pretty quiet for this whole game. I know he gets the goal there, but even so, I'm not sure a 2nd star would have been the nod there. But Nicholas Backstrom, 33 saves on the night. Look at that hits advantage, 27-4 from the Avalanche to the Wild. Again, the Wild, they're not overly physical in that sense, but they just gum up the works. They just tie guys up, they tie up the lanes, they grab sticks, they pin you along the boards, they clog up everything on the attack. You know, and I know Colorado had 34 shots in the game, but they really just make everything difficult, and they make you work for everything. It's just they've been a grinded out, gritty team, and this run has been a bit surprising, but they've been fun to watch because it really has been so structure oriented, and seeing that in a, you know, I hate using this term because it's simple-minded as far as any game with good graphics, but like from a quote-unquote arcade style game, to be able to kind of see like the tactics matter and the style matters, instead of it just, you know, being, hey, this team is faster than the other team when they just whip around the ice. That's been a fun part to watch of this run that the Wild have been on here in the postseason. So we'll go to our third, 52 seconds left, a 2-0 game. Ozolinsh fights off Clutterbuck, takes the shot, blocker save, Backstrom sends it over. Off the glass, into the corner. Rantanen goes in there. I think 55 is Schultz, if I remember right. But Rantanen wins it off of him and fires a pass. Forsberg on the rush. 1 touch. Far side. That's a beautiful goal from Forsberg to make it a 2-1 game. Actually, you know what? I'm not sure I'm actually going to be able to get to the. You know what? I think we're going to. We don't really need to see the empty netter. But let's get back to any of this that was happening. That's happening late. Yeah, this is the last. So let's see how much it will let me go back here with this last flurry. So Ozolinsh's shot. I'm probably not going to get to see all of it. This was the big one here. So Ozolinsh's shot. Landeskog tips it on the redirect. Backstrom with the stick save there. And it shoots away, but I believe they had one more opportunity. Oh no, that was it. So where was the land? Oh, they okay, for the purposes of the replay. So that was Landeskog's shot. And then the Ozolinsh tip in attempt. But there was another opportunity right before that, but that was the tip. They had the opportunity there for that tip-in goal. But they are denied, and the Minnesota Wild are a win away from the Legends Cup final. So that'll do it here from Colorado. The series heads back to Minnesota, and now the Avalanche have to win 2 straight. The number 1 seed in danger of falling short of the goal. Appreciate you tuning in as always. Bang that like button if you haven't as of yet. Subscribe if you haven't as of yet. And also subscribe to the Substack as we are doing write-ups, game reports. We're doing analysis kind of stuff. Really enjoying being back into writing about things. And again, we're kind of drifting. Not that broadcasts are going to ever kind of end by any stretch, but the storytelling aspect of the Legend Sports Universe, which I talk frequently about, is really the goal of creating this world and then telling the stories of the world that developed. It's a lot easier to do that in writing. And also just writing comes easily for me, and I can share a lot more of the stories going on from the league and get people on board with the stories. And it doesn't take an hour to read my stories as opposed to watching the game. So the idea is to get those things to a complementary nature with each other. The Substack is, of course, free. I will never charge for anything tied to this hobby, but hopefully you will check that out. The link is in the description, and you can subscribe to the Substack and follow along there. Until next time, everybody, be good to each other, and we'll talk soon. The Wild take Game 5 3-1 to take a 3-2 series lead in the Western Conference Finals.